Hey folks, welcome to Guitar Daily. It's Nick Granville coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. So today I thought I'd talk to you about this whole notion of the silent stage and why we got to push back against this as guitarists, right? There's this whole idea that we need to have the stage be silent. Isn't the whole idea that we're doing music and we're making music? You know, it's like music is sound and noise, right? It's going to happen. And it's just dumb. Now, some cases, don't get me wrong, there are cases when you do need the silent stage. Like theatre shows. I do some of these theatre shows, and like I did We Will Rock You a couple of months ago. And there was something like 40 headset microphones. You know those microphones that come down here? And they're moving around the stage the whole time. You can't be blasting an amp to play that Queen stuff with that sort of thing. In that case, yeah, you need to get the band as quiet as possible, right? So guitars were via modelers direct. The drums was in his own booth. Bass was direct. Keyboards were direct. Worked pretty good, right? They still had feedback at times, but it was minimal. But I've seen a bit of this lately where there's this idea of doing like a corporate gig or doing, like a wedding or something like that. And the silent stage, and it's the sound guys go, no, don't bring an amp. I've seen people saying this. Luckily, it doesn't happen to me. I don't do that for many weddings, like very rarely. And do some corporate gigs, but most of the time it's like the higher end stuff that I'm doing, so I get away with it. But we need to push back against this. It's total rubbish, right? Since when do the sound guys tell us what we can and can't do? It's not up to them. Now, don't get me wrong. They're trying to make the best of the situation just like we are. They want the sound to be good just like we do, right? But I've had this before. I remember a sound guy once at a gig saying to me, just turn your amp down as low as humanly possible. This is when I was using amps. Turn your amp down as low as humanly possible and just use it as a monitor. And I was like, yeah, well, clearly you don't understand that the amp is part of the sound, right? And what happens if I turn the amp down as low as humanly possible, as this silly person had said? What happens then is I'm going to play hard to be able to hear myself, right? And gone are all the dynamics and all the things that make the playing great, right? Well, hopefully great. That's what I'm going for. But gone are all the dynamics, right? And then what can he do? He might be able to turn it up in the PA system and go, oh, it's sonically really good or whatever, but you're just turning up a shitty guitar sound. So you don't win either, being a sound guy that has that, or girl, but sound guy in this case, that has that attitude. So nobody wins. I'm unhappy about the gig. The sound's not great. You can't turn it up and get a good performance. Now, I'm going to be able to play no matter what. I'll make it work, but it's 60% of what I could probably do. A better thing to do is just let me do what I do, and then if you don't need the guitar in the PA, turn it off. I remember a sound guy recently, I did a gig a couple of months ago, and I took 2 FRFRs with my Fractal FM3, and the sound guy said to me afterwards, he goes, man, there's no bass and no guitar in the PA. And I go, is that okay? And he goes, yeah. I'm not mad about it. He goes, it sounds great. Good. Right? Who cares if it's in the PA or not? Does it sound good? The whole thing of it is it's sound reinforcement, isn't it? If you don't need guitar, you don't need drums, right, in certain venues, don't put it in the PA, right? Who cares? As long as it's not obnoxious, right? Like if someone's like drowning out the whole band, I've seen guitar players do that too, so you know who you are. They just play like Stevie Ray Vaughan loud, and it's like you're playing like something where it just doesn't, it's inappropriate. That's that's a different thing. But if you're balancing with the band and everything's kind of musically happening, then the sound person's just there to reinforce it, right? Just take whatever out. Maybe you only need vocal in the PA and a touch of, I don't know, keyboard or guitar or bass drum. And if it sounds good, it is good. Leave it alone. But there's this whole notion that like weddings have to be background music, like or at least not background music, but have to have this silent stage thing. And I just think it's rubbish because I don't know anyone who particularly likes playing guitar through in-ears. If you do, let me know in the comments below, but I don't. Whenever I wear my in-ears, I always go away from it going, So for me, I always take an FRFR, usually the Fender FR10, because that's what I have, and it works. I have a couple of them, these different things now, and they're all really good. I have a red sound here, and I have an old Laney, and different things. But, yesterday's gig, there was a Fender Hot Rod DeVille there, so I came out of my Fractal into the power amp return and used just the tubes in the speaker. And they were good because I'll just use whatever. But I'm still trying to blend with the band, but I'm trying to play dynamically and musically, right? And so it's like, yeah, like I said, there are times when it needs to be a silent stage, but not all the time, right? And do what you need to do. Put your foot down about this stuff, as long as you're not going to lose the gig. If you're going to lose the gig, then, it's not worth making a fuss. But, if they're, instead of being told how you should play, right, go, well, how about this is what I do, let's find a compromise that works for everybody. Right? Because it's also not just about going in there and going, right, I'm going to have my 2 Marshall stacks, I'm going to crank them and to hell with everyone else, because that's unmusical also. Do you know what I mean? But you got to be able to get what you want. So to me, it's like, I don't think the modeler thing equals silent stage. I don't, like, when I play with my modeler, the FM3, which is what I usually bring, and I bring it for a couple of reasons, not the silent stage reason, but I put it through the Fender FR10 or whatever's provided, and I play pretty loud. Like, I'm playing at least as loud as the drummer. Right? Because that's the thing. If you listen to music, how many albums can you ever hear where the guitar is quieter than the drums? None. Period. Right? So that's what I want. Like, drums, bass, about the same kind of level. Guitar slightly up on that. Vocal up above everything else, right? If it becomes a guitar solo, the vocal takes over where the... If it becomes a guitar solo, where the vocal was, that's where the guitar level needs to be. So that's the way I'm going to balance to the band, because that's how it should be musically. I'm not willing to compromise on that, right? And, it's about balance and blending and all of those sort of things. And that's way better when I have some kind of sound reinforcement. It also just makes music more fun. And the thing is, like, the playing on in-ears is not fun for me. I just don't enjoy it. I can do it, and there's times I have to, but... I'd much rather play through an amp, because the result's going to be better, and then everybody wins, right? I just thought that was I'd chuck my 2 cents in about the silent stage thing. So let me know in the comments what you think. I'm seeing more and more of it. And actually, I saw something on John Cordy's channel here, where he was talking about this sort of thing. Not necessarily the same kind of topic, but related to this. And someone said, oh, well, what about the silent stage when drummers have to use... Why don't drummers use electric kits if we're going to go for a silent stage? And I think part of it is that electric kits sound like crap, don't they? They don't sound good. They don't feel good. They're like a major compromise on the music. So drummers are still taking real drums. Now, the modelers have got to the point now where they're 99.9% of the way there for most of the time. So there's now this expectation, well, they sound good, so let's make it work. Which they do. And I don't use it for the silent stage reason. I use it because of the flexibility, the portability. I like the consistency. The big one for me is consistency. I don't want to turn up and have a different sound on one gig to the next gig. I want my sound to be consistent, right? That I can fly somewhere and get my sound, right? And I'm so sick of backline where it's just rubbish. So that's why I'm using a modeler most of the time. Now, I do use amps as well. And the other thing too is it doesn't have to be amp or modeler. Why not both? Right. Anyway, just some thoughts on that. I thought I'd share. So if you found this useful, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below. That'll help. Buy me a coffee's link below if you want to help and contribute to the channel. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.